Yeah, that happened.
Listen, that video that you just saw, I shot that this morning. I'm now in Fort Stockton, Texas. I woke up in Las Cruces, and we're running on the sleeper berth again. This week, the last 2 weeks, have, like, not been hell, but they haven't been great. And I don't know if it's because I'm running this window load back and forth or not, but I don't know if I'm going to take the window load again anytime soon. Just because it seems like every time I take the window load, something goes wrong. So, I'm trying to remember where to begin. By the way, this is my new cup. I have a coffee maker on the truck. I've been drinking coffee. This is my keep awake cup. So anything that is designed to keep me awake goes in this cup. Tea, coffee, Dr. Pepper. Anyway, let's see. I took the window load. Oh, what day was that? It's gonna be like, I don't even remember now. It was last week, and then everything went all right. Like, I came back from Atlanta. What did I do? I don't remember exactly what I did. I came back from Atlanta, and oh yeah, I did the Atlanta load back from Atlanta, and then I was in Dallas midweek, so I went down and picked up the window load. I run it out to Albuquerque, unload on the 31st, 30th, 28th, 27th, on the 26th of March. And this is kind of going to be a rant, just so you know. Unload 26th of March, and then I drove as quick as I could all the way out to Tonopah, and ended up spending the night in Tonopah. I wasn't real sure whether or not I wanted to go out to Quartzsite. It was only after I had been in Tonopah that I decided to, I spent the night in Tonopah, and then I went out to Quartzsite. I spent 2 nights at Quartzsite, which is the video you saw. So, by the way, spoilers, because this is going to be, some of this stuff is going to happen ahead of the video that I'm going to release on Sunday. So then I get up 5:30 in the morning, and I drive out. Beautiful moonrise. You're going to see that in the next video. Beautiful moonrise. I get to I get to Phoenix. I get unloaded, and I had booked a load of cans, leaving. And I'm just gonna say their name because I don't usually do this. But oh my god, like the amount of time I spent. It was Buske, B-U-S-K-E, and I don't know what it is about them and why they take so long to get you loaded or unloaded or anything, but. And it didn't help that I was late. But I had a lot of windows on the truck. I scheduled a pickup for noon. I assumed that, I'd get to the drop at 8 o'clock in the morning. They'd get done counting windows about 10, 10:30, 11, somewhere there. And I'd be able to just go right straight over to the pickup. Well, it didn't happen. They didn't get done until about 2 or 1:30, somewhere in there. I had to go do a trailer washout because a couple of windows had broken. And then I had to go, and then I went over to Buske. So I was 3 hours late. It was a noon pickup. I was 3 hours late. They were going to work me in. That's probably why I ended up spending so much time sitting in Phoenix. So I pick up the load, or sat around. They were like, we're going to get you in. We're going to work you in. And you had this expectation of like, any minute now. They're going to call me. And I'm going to be able to pick up the phone, and they're going to put me in the door. And it just didn't happen. And so finally, I think I laid down. I gave up. That was the day that you guys saw the guy unloading the flatbed, and I put out that video. I was sitting there, and I sat around, and watched the movie, and did this, da-da-da. And finally, I think around 10 or 11, I gave up and laid down. Well, they called me at I think it was 11:20 I laid down. At 11:40, they called me and said, back in the door 2 or 3 or 4 or something like that. So I back into the door, and I feel like, well, they're going to take forever. I'll leave in the morning. So I go back and lay down. Well, about an hour later, they're knocking on the door like, hey, you're ready to go. Okay. So I pull out, seal up the door, and I go, And I had told the broker I was going to do everything I could. I had an 11 a.m. drop on Thursday at, it was 11 a.m. in Fort Worth. So I'm going to do what I can to be there, and try to be on time and everything. So just give me a chance. Well, that's when I ran the sleeper berth provision. I did the video about the sleeper berth provision. So they said, be there at 11 a.m., drops off at 11 a.m. Okay. So I'm almost there. I call them up, like, hey, I'm going to be, it's like Thursday morning, I'm an hour away. I'm in Weatherford or Ranger or something like that. Thurber? Doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm an hour away, and I get the call back from the broker. I say, hey, so we called ahead. Only appointment they have available to unload is 4 p.m. today. I'm like, wait, no. When I booked the load on Friday last week, I was told that delivered at 11 a.m. Well, do you have proof of that in a document or something like that? I was like, yes, I do. And like, click, click. It's like, nope. It says 7 a.m. for like Friday morning, which is ridiculous because I was going to leave. What was it? Now, maybe that was a Wednesday morning delivery at 11 a.m. So I was going to leave Wednesday, go back down to Bryan, pick up the window load, and go back out again. And so anyway, they were like, well, it's going to be 4 p.m. before they can get you in on Wednesday. And I complained. I really did. I complained about it. I was like, you need to figure it out. Well, I go in, check in. They're like, you're not scheduled till 4. I got there at 11 a.m. straight up when I was supposed to be there. And I worked my butt off to get there. And I get there, and I go in and check in at 4, and I come back out, and I call the broker, and I said, listen, you guys said 11 a.m. I'm here. I busted my hump to get here by 11 a.m. So we're going to have to figure something out. You need to pay me for the time that I sat. And they're like, yeah, well, I don't know. We'll have to see what we can do, because we have 4 p.m., and really it was supposed to be tomorrow, which was like Thursday morning at 7, and we moved it up for you. And everything's, yeah, but you told me 11 a.m. when I booked the load. Well, so I gave up trying to talk to them about it, and I just said, okay, well, So I dropped the trailer, I go home, I got a shower, I come back, I check in at 3:30, because they inside, they said I could check in at 3:30, so 3:30 comes around, I back up underneath the trailer, I sit there for a few minutes, got stuck at one point, pulled out, went way down the street, or way down to the other end of the warehouse, and sat down there for a while, was kept waiting for them to come and load the trailer, call me. And again, it was one of those things where I just sat, and I was expecting for them to call, and they didn't. And finally, just about the time I was getting ready to lay down. That's always the way it works. When you're getting ready to lay down, they're going to call you. So I go to lay down, and they call me. Back in the door, 22. Something like that. So I back into the door, and I lay back down and went back to bed. Well, then, of course, they're like, hey, you're done. Here's your paperwork. Sign the paperwork or whatever. And I asked them, I was like, can I spend the night on the property? And they're like, yeah. Because I had scheduled to pick up the window load the next day. So I spend the night on the property. I get up, 8 o'clock, something like that. And I beat feet down to Bryan. And on the way there, I get a phone call from the broker telling me that, hey, they're running late in Bryan. The trailer's not going to be ready until 4 o'clock. Okay. So I had to have, I'm still in sleeper berth provision at that point, so I still had to have, a couple of hours. I was like, all right, I'll go down there, I'll take a nap. I'll get my sleeper berth, my 2-hour sleeper berth in or whatever. That'll be, or 2 or 3 hours or something like that, but I'll lay down. And I'll get some time, and I'll get up at 3:30, and I'll check and see if they're ready. So I get up at 3:30. Are you going to be ready by 4? No, it's going to be 6. So I sit around. 6 o'clock rolls around. Hey, you going to be ready by 6? No, it's going to be 9. Well, I could still make the delivery using the sleeper berth provision and running late and everything. I could still make the delivery on time later in the afternoon in Albuquerque on Friday if I could have taken the trailer in at 6. But when they said 9, it was too late now. So we tried to find somebody else in the company that could take the trailer. Nobody could. So I ended up having to take it anyway. So now I'm running behind. And I have stuff I want to do this weekend in Dallas. So I picked up the trailer on Friday. Finally, it was like, I checked at 9. There's no, it's going to be 4 in the morning. So I found a place to park on the property because you can park down there. And then I went to sleep. So I get up. I was like, screw it. I'm going to get up at 8. I can't deliver until Monday. So I'm just going to go home for the weekend anyway. So all I've got is like a 3-hour drive home. So I'm just going to get up when I want to get up. So I stayed up a little bit late because I'd had a nap that day, on Thursday. I think I got up around, 8, 9 or something like that. And I went and checked in. I was like, yeah, it's ready. I was like, okay. Hook up to it, go. I went home. For the weekend. Stayed at home. I inventoried my model trains. That's the kind of nerd I am. Literally, that's what I did. And went through every one of them. This is the gondola. It shows scales. This is the rip. I did all that. So, did that. Sunday morning I left. Drove out to Moriarty. Parked up at Moriarty for the night. Went into Albuquerque Monday morning. Like 8 a.m. Dropped off. They got me out of there about 11. And then I went down to Phoenix, to Tonopah. Spent the night, got a shower, got a decent spot, I think. Did I? No. I got a sucky spot. That's right. I had to park all the way out and back. So I get all that done. And then the next day, I get up real early. I go into Phoenix. I get the, load unloaded. I had booked, I should have known, but I had booked the same can load, leaving the same place, because I knew what to expect. I knew to expect to spend 10 hours, and that I would probably get there Friday, and that I could get unloaded Friday, or Thursday, after. They'd give me unloaded sometime Thursday, but at least I'd be home Thursday. So, I go over there. I'm expecting to be there 10 hours. I go in, I check in, I come back out of the truck. I'm talking on the phone with a few people, and I'm well, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna try to lay down and get a nap. They're like, okay. Well, I let somebody go. 5 minutes later, they call me. I've been there 30 minutes at this point. Head back into door 4. Okay, this is be great. So I'm back into door 4, and I get into door 4 and everything, and I'm sitting there. And about 20 minutes later, somebody comes out and knocks on the door. And I'm just like, yeah. And they go, hey, we can't use your trailer. Why can't you use my trailer? Well, on the inside of the trailer, it's sealed, otherwise I'd take a picture and show it to you guys. On the inside of the trailer, at the bottom of the wall, there are these 2 rails that run the length of the wall. I don't know what they're there for. I think they're like scuff rails or something. So that way, when you're sticking pallets in this trailer, you don't accidentally go through the wall, which is kind of nice. But apparently, it's too narrow on the inside of the trailer to load these cans. So, can't use the trailer. So I call the broker back and say, hey, this is what's going on. It's like 3:30, almost 4 o'clock at this point. Most brokers have gone home or are going home. I'm on Pacific time, where I'm at. So it's 4 o'clock Pacific time, 6 o'clock Dallas time, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Most brokers have already gone home. It's 5 o'clock basically. And so I'm I pull out on the road. I'm like randomly calling people, and I call the guy that owns the company. I was like, hey, this is what happened. He's like, I'll look. And so he's looking, and I'm looking, and we're calling, back and forth, can't find anything. So I ended up going out to Tonopah again. Went in, had a nice dinner, got a nice shower, and everything, and came back out, went to bed. Get up the next day, 6:30 in the morning, Pacific time. And just started calling people, And the first load, that was the point, that was the plan, was just call people. First load I called was a load of Holland. And it was a load I called on the night before. It was a furniture load coming out of Phoenix, drop in Pflugerville, Texas, drop in Grand Prairie, Texas on Friday, which is the day I'm supposed to be getting my vaccine. I ended up pushing that back to, because I'm running late now because of the can load, canceling on me. I had to push my vaccine back to next week on Tuesday, which was the earliest appointment that was available. And so I pushed that back. Now I'm going to be there Friday. Drop in Pflugerville. I'm on my way to Pflugerville tonight. I'm in Fort Stockton because I'm again. Anyway, let me get to a little bit more. So I pick up this furniture load. Everything goes fine. They 10 a.m. yesterday. Everything's going fine. I'm booking it south. I'm coming out of Phoenix. I'm going through Casa Grande. The cruise control's on and everything, and all of a sudden it just cuts out. Just no more cruise control. And I look down, and I have a check engine light and a red stop engine light flashing at me on the dash. I'm like, oh no, what is it? So I immediately get over into the right lane, and the TA is coming up in Casa Grande. And I know I've got to stop at the Casa, at the TA Casa Grande. That's where I'm going to make it to, is that TA Casa Grande. So I pull over the right lane, let off the fuel, the fuel, and I pull over the right lane, and I go for the exit. And when I let off the fuel, it stopped pulling, and the light stopped flashing. The little stop engine light stopped flashing at me, and then it went away. I was like, I immediately knew what that was, which is low coolant, because I've had that issue before. So, okay, so I pull into the TA, I get out, open the hood, and I'm looking around to see what the problem is. Sure enough, I'm low on coolant. So I get more coolant out, shut the engine off, fill it up. I'm looking around. And finally I find this hose, this radiator hose. It's about this long, literally. It's that, like, that distance. And it's bulging, and it looks like it's about to split open. It's like, okay. So it's definitely time for the radiator hose to be replaced. And how I missed it at some point, I don't know, but I missed it. So I'm at the TA, call him real quick. When can you get me in? It'll be about an hour and a half. Okay. We'll start the paperwork. We'll come here to the office, and we'll start the paperwork in person, because I got a long line of customers. Okay. So I pull around to the office, and I'm in there doing the paperwork, and in walks the technician. She goes, "Hey, he's here. You want to do a radiator hose?" He goes, "Yeah, I can do a radiator hose." She goes, "All right, pull around to bay 1. Immediately got in. So I pull around. He finds that hose. He's up on top of the engine looking around. He says, "Hey, I think this other hose needs to be replaced." He kind of points it out. It's like, and I'm like, "Yeah, it probably needs to be replaced." So I ended up having to replace 2 hoses. Well, I sat for 5 hours at the TA in Casa Grande, and the whole time I'm waiting. They had to send out for the part because they didn't have it. And the whole time I'm waiting, and I'm like looking, and I'm like crunching numbers. And finally figured out that I could still make it. But I had to get to Las Cruces in Mexico last night. So they finished. I took the dog out, and then I pointed the nose of the Freightliner east, and started driving. And I made it to Las Cruces last night. I got there about Mountain Time. It was about 1 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock. Went to bed, did my 7 hours of sleep or whatever. Got up, and now I'm on my way to Pflugerville. Well, that was part of it. Well, now, I came here to Fort Stockton because I know that we have the ability to buy fuel here at this Sunoco here in Fort Stockton. This Stripes. It's a Sunoco Fuels or whatever. So I pull in, and I'm fueling up and everything, and I go to top off the tanks. I always top off the tanks. That's what I do. And go to top it off and everything, and as I'm holding the nozzle out, I'm looking down at the fuel, and it doesn't look right. And I don't know if it's just untreated diesel fuel, or if it's like not dyed properly. I thought, I can't seem to find this online now, but I thought green dyed diesel fuel was for on-road diesel, and red dyed diesel fuel was for off-road diesel. And we used to, when I ran steam engines at Six Flags, we used to run red dye diesel to fire the steam locomotives on. And those are real steam locomotives. I don't care what anybody says. I've worked on them. We use the diesel fuel to make the fire, which boils the water, which creates the steam, which is what the engine runs on. So, and they're like 120 years old. It was great. I love doing it. Didn't pay well. But I'm looking at it, and it's clear. And I don't remember in the last 2 years ever putting diesel like that in my tanks. And I'm like looking at it, and so I pull it out, like I dip my finger in it, and I kind of feel it, because diesel's got that real oily residue or whatever. And it just wasn't real oily, and it didn't smell real diesel-y. I don't know if that's the way to tell. I mean, I've never dealt with bad diesel fuel, so I have no clue. So, and by this point, I've put 110 gallons in the tank. So I have my, 114 gallons in the tank. So I have my options. And my option is to go and complain, tell them to take all the fuel back, or to just run it. It's like, how are they, there's no shop here. What, they got a pump? They're just going to pump it all out or something? Maybe they do. Maybe they have a pump for, cases when guys are, here and they can't pay. And they're like, well, you ain't taking the fuel with you. So, you know, maybe they have like some sort of pump and like they bring it out, they pump it out, they put it back in, you know. And I find that hard to believe, but so anyway, so I go in. I'm like, hey, I find the manager. I say, how much fuel do you guys have in your tanks? And she's like, what's wrong? And I said, well, I told her what I'm telling you guys. There's something wrong about the fuel. I don't like it. Something doesn't seem right. I'm not really sure what's wrong. I said, can you, is there any way to tell? She goes, yeah, I can do a printout. She said, but we do a printout every day that shows the water contamination in the tanks. I said, yeah. And she goes, well, what's wrong? I said, well, this fuel doesn't seem right. It doesn't smell right to me. It doesn't smell diesely enough, oily enough. I don't know what to say about that. It just doesn't smell right. So she's like looking at me like, what are you talking about? It doesn't smell right. I was like, it smells a little like diesel, but not a whole lot like diesel. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, diesel smells like diesel. So anyway, so she gives me this printout here of everything that you can see. And so the one that we want to concentrate on is diesel truck here. So if you look here, diesel truck, okay, it tells you the capacity, which is 30,000 gallons, what she currently has, which is 12,000 gallons net. What the level is about 55%. It tells you the temperature, current temperature of the diesel. It tells you the ullage. I'm not sure what that means. The ullage of the diesel. It tells you the water volume and the water level, right? And you can see on the truck diesel that you have no water. And that's what I was thinking, because it's clear. The diesel's clear. That's what I'm thinking. So now I'm a little worried about this. So I got her card, you know, so that way I could call if there's a problem, which I'm hoping there's not. And it may just be that, you know, I'm in South Texas, and maybe the diesel that I've been buying everywhere else is got, you know, winter, it's been treated for cold weather still, and this stuff isn't. This is just straight diesel. I did some research online. It seems like clear diesel's the normal thing. It's not always green, but I always thought it was. I thought it was green. So, if anybody out there is smarter than I am about all this, feel free to comment in the comment section down below. But because now I'm kind of worried about my diesel or whatever. But I don't really have a choice. So when I get done with my break here in another 58 minutes, I'm gonna go on to Pflugerville. So I get to park overnight at the warehouse, which is cool, and everything. And I'm gonna continue to sip what is something I should be drinking. I needed something to keep me going. So, anyway, I know this is a long video, but every once in a while I want to rant. This is one of those videos. I'm ranting. I totally know I am. Thank you. If you watch this whole video, first off, thank you for being willing to listen to me. If you don't watch this whole video, I totally understand. I'm not entirely sure I'll watch the whole video, even after I post it. But it's gonna go up. This is real life. This is what it is. This is what trucking's all about. And so you deal with these problems over and over and over again. And as much as I would like, you know, I was talking to Stan yesterday, Sasnak, and everything, and we were talking about our channels. You know, what he wants for his channel, what I want for my channel. And I just, you know, I told him, and I want you guys to know too, I want to put positivity out there. You know, I think that we are, you know, the reason I talk about stuff, the reason I'm willing to rant, the reason I'm willing to, you know, talk about politics, talk about religion, talk about these things, is because I feel like we're not, we look at the differences between us and focus on those, and we're not looking at the similarities. And there are a lot of similarities between you and me. And I have my beliefs, and you have your beliefs, and that's perfectly fine. You know, you have your political leanings, I have my political leanings, and that's also perfectly fine. But I always felt like, and because politics is such a volatile issue in America nowadays, I'm going to use the example of politics. I've always felt that if you consider a Republican and a Democrat down at a table, and get them to talk to each other, they're going to find out they're not that far apart. And I think that's really the key. So I like to talk about this stuff, but I like to show you guys what real life is about, and to show you, like, you know, at least how I deal with it, you know, and maybe to help other people open a dialogue between each other. But I don't want my channel to always be, I want my channel to be positive, but I want it to be honest. So this is honesty. This is what I'm going through, you know, the last 2 weeks. I'm tired. I'm not, you know, it's more of an emotional tired. It's like draining, you know, to have to sit and wait all that time and expect this and to run behind and to be pushing as hard as you do. And I'm looking forward to, I'm going to be off, knock on wood, I'm going to be off tomorrow. And I'm going to be off Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and I'm probably going to spend Wednesday, if the first COVID shot doesn't make me sick, I'm going to spend Wednesday prepping the truck to go back out on Thursday. And that's, you know, that's my plan. I don't know if I'm going to take the window load again. It seems like every time I take it up, I have problems. So, but that's what happens. So, yeah, I'm ranting. I know I'm ranting. I'm going to stop. But thanks. If you're still here after 26 minutes and 28 seconds of video, thank you for listening. I really do appreciate it. And you know the drill. Keep shining up. See you guys down the road. Yes, I forgot. I'm sorry. Yes, I got hit at some point in the last couple of days. And I don't know when. I'm pretty sure I know when. I think it was the second night at Tonopah. Not the first night, because it wasn't there when I got up to go to Phoenix to get unloaded. And I know that because I got into the side box. And I didn't notice it until I was trying to get in the side box yesterday to get coolant out. And then I noticed I'd gotten hit. So while I was waiting yesterday to get the radiator hose fixed on the truck, I went through hours of video trying to figure out when it happened. Or at least what I had off of the dash cam, and could not find a single thing. So I have no idea who it was. I have no idea when it happened, what hour it happened. I know when it happened. I just don't have video that shows me when somebody backed into me. And when I pulled in at Tonopah, I pulled in between two trucks. And when I did pull the video up, it was from 4:30 in the morning till about 7 in the morning. And I got up at 6:30 and moved around yesterday to go let the dog out. And so I checked from the time that I had on my dash cam, which was 4:30 was when the time started, until 6:30 or 7. And like, it comes in 1 minute increments, and I was like scrolling through it, like 1 minute, fast forward, 1 minute, fast forward. Watched every single truck come and go. And the guy that that when I pulled in, he didn't leave, but he was gone when I got up. So I never saw him on video leave. So I'm pretty sure at some point he left, 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning. Somebody came, tried to back in. There was a truck across the way from me, where they're not supposed to be parked. And he didn't do it right, and he ended up hitting my side box. And so instead of being a good person and telling me that he hit me, he drove off. So, and I don't have video of it, which is unfortunate. The dash cam will usually hold about 16 hours of video. Or, let's see, it's holding about 12 hours of video right now. Because it was 5:30 or so when I started checking the camera last night, and just, I don't know. So anyway, yep, that's the thing I gotta deal with now. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's it. You know the truth.